It's all about the music. In this episode, my friend Sal and I sit down and talk about music and the soundtrack of our lives. I'm Chris Casey, and this is Sea to Shining Sea. Welcome back to Sea to Shining Sea. I'm Chris Casey. Here we go with episode 13. 13 episodes. Oh my goodness. My episode today, it's all about the music, the playlist of our lives. And one of my best friends from here in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. Welcome to the show, Mr. Salvador Lopez. How's it going, Sal?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Good. Guys, I have a music aficionado here. I told him I was doing a podcast, and he told me about how much he loves music, and I love music too, but not to the extent that he does. I said, we definitely got to get together for this. Before we get started, though, I'd like to thank everybody who's been downloading and listening. We have over 630 downloads. If you'd have told me back in 2019 when I started this, can't believe that we have that many. Most recently downloaded this month in November. Hello to our friends up north there in Canada and across the pond in Germany. Thanks for listening. All right, so let's get started here in our playlist of our lives, as it were. Speaking of playlists, Sal, your music collection, which my jaw kind of dropped when you told me how many CDs you have. What is that total?
Well, it's going close to around 1,300 to 1,500 CDs. And yes, I do have CDs because I like the physical aspect of it, and I collect them all. And it ranges. It has a variety,
right?
But it's all about rock, heavy metal. Mm-hmm. That is kind of the area that I love. But
awesome.
It's around 1,500.
1,500. So you could open your own music store if you wanted.
At
least have a good inventory.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, you mentioned the physical aspect of it. You know, what's kind of in the music right now, vinyl's making a comeback. And isn't that funny? I mean, for 20, 25 years, vinyls, you know, just throw it out at the resale shop or whatever. And now you can go to Target or whatever, and it's $30 for a record that cost us 10 when we were kids, you know?
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy, right? Because ideally, right, the vinyl, what it brings, it brings not the physical aspect of it, but also the art and the picture. Like many people like to record it because they like the details in the pictures and the items,
right,
and the quality of the music too.
Well, it has a richer sound, doesn't it? More of a not digitized clean, but you know, the clicks and the pops kind of make it a little more vintage, unique, or whatever. But,
correct. The little imperfections is what makes it the perfect.
Hey, I had LPs as a kid, man. I had 45s, 33s. Those of you listening, did you? Hey, reach out to me. Before we get started, I just want to remind everybody, reach out to me at Chris Casey71 on Twitter or Sea to Shining Sea 2019 at gmail.com. And most recently, Sea to Shining Sea on YouTube. So on YouTube, Sal, I've been having fun with this. You know, we went on vacation to the beach. I did a little snippet from the Atlantic Ocean, wearing my Jaws t-shirt. I thought that was funny. So here I am in the ocean with a Jaws t-shirt. And then when we went to Carolina Panther game, and we were singing Sweet Caroline. Sweet Caroline. That actually has over 2,000 views on YouTube. But yeah, we singing Sweet Caroline after a Panther win, which has been few and far between this year. I've got just some other fun things. I've done a voiceover, which I'm kind of going to bounce around on those, doing voiceovers. I did a voiceover from the Field of Dreams. And then over Veterans Day, I did the Airman's Creeds. Guys, check that out. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors. We'd love to hear from you at any one of those places. But follow along with us on this wonderful world of music. And let's get started. Sal, what does music mean to you?
I think it means everything, honestly.
Okay.
To me, what it means a state of mind. It means memories. It means, like, music is all the time of my life, right? I got in the car, I got to listen to music. I'm after I finish some meetings, I gotta go and listen to one song or two. I'm going to bed, I'm listening to music. I think music helps not only to calm the soul and calm the mind, but it brings memories and sometimes make us address or go through tough times in life. So like I say, I love it every single minute.
That's awesome. So you use it more as therapeutic, but also on a daily basis, like it's a fuel for you. Me, music, it's a mood setting. I don't like to listen to nothing when I'm in the car. Depending on my mood, what I listen to. I don't probably listen as much as you do, but there are certain genres of music, certain musicians, certain things that bring back memories, which I think we're going to talk about here soon, that you can rest easy, like whether it be easy listening if you're just relaxing at home, or if you've had a hard day and you just want to relax. I mean, you just want to decompress, maybe some heavy metal, something, or if you're just having a good time and just want to crank it up, So yeah, I am with you there. That takes us right into what favorite kinds of music do you like?
As I mentioned before, to me, it's rock and heavy metal. Heavy metal it is, but not the kind of heavy metal that everybody think about. The one that growls, death metal, things they're embarking. I'm more to the melodic kind of metal. As I mentioned, my collection, right, the 1500.
Right.
I like from progressive metal, which is jazz and heavy metal mixture. It's more for the intellect. Versus the power metal, which is all about, fantasy and things like that, versus, rock. And then we're talking about rock, we're talking about classic rock, we're talking about Journey.
Now you're getting into my wheelhouse.
And all that, right? But then also you have more modern type of rock that is coming more from an Italian label, Frontiers Records in Italy. And I like those. And believe it or not, my collection, I organize it by alphabetical order, by genre, and by country.
Wow.
Because it matters to me, right? My mind that's helped me. So when I'm in the mood, I know where to grab my albums and my collection and then build my vintage of those.
Didn't you put those all on a thumb drive?
I did have a thumb drive. So actually, I did have one of a gigantic disc. I have almost more than 10,000 songs.
Oh my goodness! God.
So when I'm going on a trip, and
you could run your own radio station, right?
Yeah, and I have my own playlist. So what I did is not only I organize them, I organize my computers all because I digitize them as well. Right. I like to have both, right? So if I'm on the road, I have it, and I just put them into a playlist. So I have a different playlist, and I can organize it however I want it to.
Wonderful, wonderful. Speaking of playlist, you kind of gave me an idea. And before I kind of go into my favorite genre, I mentioned the YouTube page here a few minutes ago. Guys, by the time we're done with our episode today, I'm going to put together a playlist of my favorite throughout my lifetime and Sal's favorites. So after you listen, if you were wondering, what is this band that Sal's talking about? What is this that he's talking about? I might even learn new stuff here, So I just wanted to kind of give everybody a preview of that. So your favorite kinds of music, kind of give my favorite kinds of music. My music tastes are kind of all over the map. Yours are more focused and centered in one area, but I like everything from Louis Armstrong to Alan Jackson to Van Halen. So, I mean, that's opposite ends of the spectrum. I mean, I like some old country. I like classic rock. I like Journey. I mean, the Eagles, Chicago, all that 70s soft rock, you would call it. Some heavy metal, not near as much as you. And I guess I'm an old guy now. Newer rock stuff, probably the newest thing I remember is Nickelback. Or like your Imagine Dragons, stuff that has a melodic sound to it, but, I don't need to listen to it. Really, new music is not my thing. Mm-hmm. We have so much that is not new that can be appreciated, that if I throw something on in the car, it's either on satellite radio or on my phone. The other day I was listening to Hall & Oates. Mm-hmm. Hall & Oates, they're an underappreciated band.
They're underappreciated. And
you don't realize how many songs they had that were top 10. You're listening to like the greatest. Oh, I remember that song. I remember that song. Yeah, that's kind of where mine stands. I ask the folks that are listening, Tell us yours. Is there something we're not listening to that we should? Greatest thing since sliced bread? Let us know. All right.
Let me add a fun thing that you were going to say there.
Sure.
It's, as people trying to put together the list, part of what makes music awesome, because it's like colors, right?
Right.
There's so many variety, and the more you mix, the more you broaden the spectrum. And I think that's what I like about music.
Yes.
You know, you can listen to Spanish, because I speak Spanish.
Right.
So you have Spanish.
Like as if they didn't already know.
Merengue, you know, I like that kind of type of music. But then also I like the classical stuff, right? I like the Beethovens, the Wolfgang.
Yes. Oh, yeah. You know what?
Mozart. I like those.
I completely forgot that, man, because you know, and I've told you this before, at night I'll listen to Danny Elfman, John Williams, movie scores that, you know, listening to the Superman movie score, Star Wars movie score. You know, those, I could crank those up and just listen to them. An instant, you know, we're movie and TV guys, definitely movie guys.
Yeah.
And the minute you hear that, you know, it just, you can close your eyes and watch the movie without having any words. That's a good job. Thanks for doing that, man. I was like, man, you're absolutely right.
Right, because it triggers the memory. It's like imagine your brain is like a database, and you need a keyword to search and unlock a world of possibilities. And that's what it does, music. Music does that.
Perfect example. John Williams. Da-dun.
Da-dun.
Da-dun. Da-dun. I mean, that's just two notes, and that speaks volumes. Everybody listening to this should know it. Da-dun. You know.
Yes.
And that was ominous in its time in 1976 or 75 or whenever that came out. Good Lord. One of my favorite movies of all time. Jaws.
Yeah, exactly. You can listen Queens like
under
pressure.
Well, and so much has been used from that era like that for music nowadays.
Yeah.
Of course, they call it covering or mixing or whatever, or people redo old songs. Like I heard Rocket Man done by somebody I don't know who it was.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh, I know that song. It's not as good as the one that, you know. But
like Wizard was doing Toto, Africa.
Right.
You know, and then people say, oh, that song is awesome. Well, you got to listen to Toto
first. Yeah.
You know, and when you go into the details, the music is really good.
Right.
It's a well-written song, very melodic. And I think that's the part of it. There is, people say, well, there's not originality. The reality is, it's very rare being original.
Right.
Original. What is original is how you use the baseline,
right,
and then how you transform it and make it unique. And I think that's what makes everything beautiful. If you go back in time, listen to some of the notes, they're pretty much same kind of baseline rhythm, but then it turns a twist in one location, and you can take that in any genre. You can take a look at it, and each composition is different.
I remember a time. I remember where we were. We were walking through somewhere, and there was some music playing, and it was a country song, but it was playing in a rock format. I think I told you, "Hey, I know that song, but gosh, I've never heard it in this format." And that's when you had told me. You said any good song that's well written can play in any genre.
Exactly,
and that it would sound just as good.
It sounds good, yeah. Because the baseline is there, and I think that's what I like about music, because creativity it just explodes from anybody. Inspiration.
But then you have today's culture, which just shakes my head, because you could just put some garbage out there and people like it, and it's just like, really, why? I appreciate live music. You and I have been to a concert or two.
Yes. Kiss.
And Kiss. Yeah, that's coming up. Trust me. Concerts is going to be something we talk about. But live music, just in general, we've seen DeCarlo with the lead singer from Boston here in the Charlotte area, and what musicians do to put on a show, and the talent they have for it to be cheapened by some of the TikTok stuff. And I know I'm sounding like a grumpy old guy, get off my lawn, but these people that are musicians that are out there busting their tail for their passion, I can appreciate that. And if it's something that sounds good, I'll definitely go listen to it. So
exactly.
Anyway, we talked about your favorite kinds of music. What is your favorite? We'll start with your favorite band. I think I already know it. But
Right. So my favorite band depends the moods and everything in there, but I gotta start with Iron Maiden.
Iron
Maiden
Yeah.
is my favorite band of all time. Quick funny story. When I got introduced to heavy metal,
Right.
there were three bands that I listened to each of them song. So I listened to Slayer.
Okay.
It's a very trash heavy metal
Yes,
band.
yes. I
Back in the
remember.
day, they talk about Hellaways and things
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. I know. Imagine somebody in Puerto Rico where English people didn't understand very well, but it's like, okay, it is demonic kind of
Right.
music. Then I listened to Metallica, Master
Metallica,
of Puppet, and that was the one that converted me into heavy metal. Metallica, which is my second
Classic album.
Remember that was like I listened to Master Boy. I say this is the kind of music that I want.
Yes.
But Iron Maiden, Somewhere in Time. When I listened to the first note of Caught Somewhere in Time and Wasted Years, I realized this is my music, and I've been a fan since then. I have all the collection from Iron Maiden.
Oh, wow.
I have
Awesome.
seen them live.
Yes.
And they are unbelievable. I like the melody, I like the lyrics, I like the storytelling, and I like the musicianship. So that's my favorite.
They have some pretty awesome album covers too,
Oh.
which you talked about album covers earlier.
album cover. That's the reason why you
And
have
that's
to
Eddie, right?
Yeah,
In the
Eddie.
Eddie. Yep.
Eddie the Monster, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why you have to do that. And like every album is perfect, absolutely not. But that's the part I love it, right?
Yeah.
That's what makes them human.
Perfectly imperfect.
Yeah, I love it. I like that. Perfectly imperfect. Yeah.
All right.
How about
so
yours?
my favorite band you and I saw here in Charlotte. I've seen them twice now. Kiss. Paul and Gene have been doing it for years. They're in their 60s, probably 70s now. They sounded just as great as they did on the record I had back when I was 10. You know, it was just, I mean, I've loved a lot of bands. I mean, back in the day, I liked Stryper when I was in high school. It was just heavy metal. Poison, you know, those guys, Van Halen. But my favorite was always Kiss, was my go-to. I remember Smashes, Thrashes, and Hits in 1989.
Nice.
I listened to that like crazy, you know, calling Dr. Love. Oh, yeah. And, but yeah, the show was great. It ties from being a teenager to now, and the fact that they're still going, and then we got to see them. What did you think of that show? Did you like it?
Oh, I love the show, and it's something that you were mentioning before about seeing a band live,
Mhm.
right? When you listen to a CD, an LP, or streaming, you get the connection with the feeling.
Right.
However, when you see them live, now you start understanding
Right.
what it meant, the song to you.
Oh, yeah.
Because you start there, and not only you, it's how other people are related to it,
Oh,
start chanting. Like you and I, you know, where we're just singing loud, you know, rock and roll all night.
Yes,
You can
yes.
hear, you know, thousands
And it's
of
kind
people.
of an anthem, yeah.
It becomes an anthem. You become part of something bigger than you.
Well, and I think I mentioned this to you before. At their concert, and I didn't really pay attention the last time we were there, but the first concert I was at was in an arena, like a hockey arena, and it was somewhat small for them. There were probably 3 or 4 generations. There were children, there were parents, there were grandparents, and maybe even some great-grandparents that you would just see. And I think when you transcend generations, at least 2, 3 generations, that tells you something.
Mm-hmm. That
You
tells
know.
you, that tells you the longevity to
You
go
know,
in there.
and in the 75 or 76, whenever they got together, they were they were from hell, and only bad people liked them. And look at them today. You know, anybody who is a rock star today, especially in the glam rock or that hairband era, they started that, but they're not a hairband band.
Mm-hmm.
They have their own sound, and that's another thing that I like about it. They have their own sound. They don't rely on the big guitar and the big bass that a lot of other hair bands relied on.
Mhm.
But that is my favorite band. Your favorite song of all time?
Wow. My favorite song of all time. You know, it varies. It does varies from time to time. It depends on the mood. I will probably gonna say what is my favorite kind of a ballad song
There you go.
that excites emotion, because I remember pretty much every lyric, and this is gonna be throwing people off a little bit. Pearl Jam,
Okay.
Black.
Okay.
That song has a lot of emotion and every
Right.
time I close my eyes, I can remember not only the lyrics, but even the expression, the noise,
Right.
the raw emotion in there.
Mhm.
So I think I would say that if it's from there. If I want to
Awesome.
know about inspirational songs,
Yeah.
I use Van Halen right now.
Right
I-
now. Van Hagar. Absolutely.
Yeah, I manage people at work, and I try
Right.
to motivate them. And believe it or not, in my meetings, I have created collage and created videos
Yes.
where right now is the main song along the
Oh,
way
awesome.
as what we have building and whatnot we've been showing. So it's, to me, is one of those. Yeah.
awesome. Awesome. So my favorite song of all time is Paul McCartney and Wings, Live and Let Die. It's a theme song to a Bond movie. It's just such a great movie. It has a build up and then a da-da-da, 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 da. And I mean, it's just, Paul McCartney is an amazing songwriter and a great singer. That it's kind of like rock, kind of poppy, kind of rock, but it's just kind of in your face. It's not a very long song. It just, I don't know, whenever I heard that the first time, it just clicked. And I like some of Paul McCartney. Wings forwards me. And you know what? The fact that I'm talking about Paul McCartney is a segue. Yeah, we call that a segue. So that's my favorite song of all time. Segue into the age-old question. You and I are not young. I got you by a few years. We're old enough to say this. Sal, Beatles or Rolling Stones?
I gotta go Beatles. To me, is the simplicity
Right,
and the thoughtfulness of the songs
right,
are the part that connect to me.
right.
Somebody that, that right day, you say hello, I say goodbye,
Yep.
kind of song.
Oh, yeah.
And you're saying you're humming to it
Oh, yeah.
in there, but it has kind of a melody, or they make Hey Jude,
Hey Jude, yep.
that, that last 2-3 minutes of na 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 na.
Oh, yeah.
na,
Oh,
na.
yeah.
All that humming, and you can make 2 minutes of
Yes,
that,
exactly.
and everybody doesn't say it's repetitive. They're genius. It's genius.
I think the Stones were more commercial and the Beatles were storytellers.
Mhm.
And good storytellers.
Yeah.
I mean, they ended up making some wacky stuff,
Mhm.
some of it good, the walrus, cuckoo, cuckoo.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Paul McCartney and Wings, and I still to this day, that's on my bucket list to see Paul, just because I heard his concerts he brings down the house.
Mhm.
So if he ever comes to Charlotte, man, we're going.
Yeah.
All right.
We gotta go and see them.
But so there's your answer. I'm a Beatles guy too. And it's funny that the Rolling Stones were just here and they're still touring. They lost their drummer recently. He was 80 years old.
Wow, it's
And
amazing.
still rocking on the drums, man. I mean, so that tells you the genre from when we were kids is still out there slaying because people still want to see him. And that to me tells me that there's not a lot of good new stuff that people,
Yeah. Well, and they still want to play it, right? So that's
Yeah.
the good part, right? That people want to see them, but they still want to play it, so it remains in the memory of everybody.
All right, Sal. So we know who's Beatles, who's Stones. We're talking about music. Music is a big part of your life. Is there one life experience in a song that you can remember? I think you even told me, and I think it was Collective Soul.
Mm-hmm.
Is a pretty special song. So Collective Soul fans, Sal, tell me the song and what had happened. I remember we talking about that.
Yeah. So I've been married for 24
Yes.
years, going to 25
Yes.
next year, and my wife and I, we were in college,
Mm-hmm.
and basically the first time we actually started kind of saying that we have
Right.
feelings for each other without saying it.
Mm-hmm.
We were studying,
Mm-hmm.
and Collective Soul was playing. I was playing the radio. That one of
Right.
my cassettes back then. Those cassettes. It was Collective Soul had this song called "In a Moment."
Okay.
And part of the song said, "In a moment, it could happen. We could forgive and be happy."
Awesome.
And that song started playing, and then me and my wife kind of start humming it.
Nice.
And then when the choruses start saying that, we just start kind of singing
wow.
that part when it says, when we look to see each other eye to eye.
Awesome.
And then we just look at each other, and that's when the chorus came in a moment, and we just look, but we didn't say anything.
Right.
We didn't kiss, but we kind of look at each other, and that was the connection. So that is a special song.
Awesome.
For that specific reason, because it was a song that connects my wife and I.
That is
believe it or not,
that's awesome.
Collective Soul.
Collective Soul, and that is a great band, though. I like Collective Soul. They got some good stuff. Any other songs or moments in life that you want to share?
Yeah. So there was another one. I never lived with my parents, so my dad used to come to visit me every summer, every other summer, and for 2 weeks of my life, I have a dad, and for a year, I have a dad. So he came in. And there was this summer where he came to play softball with the softball team.
Okay.
And they travel everywhere. We went to the beach, we went to pools, we went to hiking and whatnot in Puerto Rico. What was interesting is back then there was White Lion released the album.
White Lion, yes.
The album Big Game.
Yes.
And in that album there was a song Little Fighter.
Little Fighter.
And I always gonna remember that White Lion, that band. And that song, because it reminded me of my summer with my dad.
Awesome.
Let's say it was the best summer of my life back then. Now with my wife, I have different memories.
Oh, yeah.
But with my dad, because for the first time in I don't know how many years, I had a dad for 2 weeks.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
So it reminded me that. So that's what music does to you.
It does. It does. I have a few, if you don't mind me sharing.
Yeah, sure.
When I was in boot camp in 1989. So the 3 songs I'm kind of going to tell you are songs I wouldn't listen to on a normal basis, or, maybe once in a while. The first song, it's a country song, but it's a very, very patriotic song. While I was in boot camp with the other fellows I was in training with, we had a field day. And we took a gold medal in the field day in track and field, or I think it was a tug of war or something. And all the people that were in my squadron, as we were competing, we came in and they cranked up Lee Greenwood's God Bless the USA. And we were all singing it. I was brand new in the Air Force. It freaking brought tears to my eyes. It was awesome. So to this day, when I hear that song, I go right back to being in basic training.
Oh, wow.
I mean, the second one that I want to share is actually a country song, recent country song. And my wife, Lynn, she likes that new country. Well, there's a group called Dan and Shay. It's a duo. And they have this song, Speechless, which it's speechless. So and we played at our wedding, and I didn't look at her. And when I looked at her, it was playing, and that's kind of what the lyrics of the song. You're left speechless when you see your bride, and if you see the video, which I plan on putting this video in my playlist, both of the guys are getting married, and you see it'll always remind me of our wedding day.
Nice.
And we actually have the words to the song. If you're in our house, it's in like a heart there on one of our tables. I'll show it to you. Yeah. But nice. So that means the world to me. Anytime I hear that, if I'm at work or I'm in a store or whatever, I'm like, oh. And then most recently, I lost my mom in October of last year, and Alan Jackson, who I mentioned earlier, one of my favorite country artists, he did a hymn, like a bunch of church hymnals. And I'll Fly Away is one of them. And when they played that at my mom's visitation, anytime I hear that, I think of Mom.
You think of her.
So, and that someday maybe I'll be in heaven with her. And I'll listen to his album sometime at night if I'm thinking of her. And it's just so simple. And I just love his voice. He's just kind of got an old school voice. But those are my most memorable life experiences and music.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's good when you just mentioned that. Mm-hmm. That's what music does, and we keep repeating this, but I think it's for our listeners start to connect with them, right?
playlist of our lives.
Yes, it's a playlist of our lives, and it's the cutscenes, right?
Yes.
It's the cutscenes. It triggers those memories, and whether the emotions are about happiness, about sadness,
Right.
about anger, or about joy.
Right.
The beautiful part, that's what makes us human. All those are
Absolutely.
emotions, and whoever tries to avoid those emotions, the reality is you cannot do that because that's what humans
Right.
are for.
And they don't like music. So.
Exactly. Yeah. So music does all that to you. So we would like to
Yeah.
hear if
Yeah.
what were those moments that actually,
Right.
when you listen to it, you're like you go like in the movie Jumanji,
Yeah.
the next level, those cutscenes.
Oh yeah.
Where are we in the cutscenes? That's the scene, the cutscenes of your life.
The
you know.
cutscenes. Yes. Yes. Or the movie Click, where he's going through the menu.
To the menu.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And James Earl Jones is. Oh
I
yeah.
like it.
Is doing the. He couldn't find work, so he had to do his. Okay. A little more lighthearted. Didn't mean to go so down the path, but I just wanted to share from my heart, my feelings. I mean, again, we're talking a lot about music here, and if anybody listening, if there's a special story you want to share with us, I will share it next time I record. I mean, really, please let us know. I love getting feedback from folks that listen. Okay, we're going to have a little fun now. We're going to talk about concerts. We both like live music. What was your first concert, Sal?
Well, so I'm going to tell you the first concert that I cannot necessarily count that it happened because it went through. It went very quickly. It was Metallica.
Okay.
It was in Puerto Rico. I was in college. Class, so I could.
And this was after you found Metallica.
This is after I found Metallica, right? I found Metallica when I was in junior high school. This is now college. Fast forward college.
Okay.
I went to my first concert, Metallica. After they played 2 songs, Start Raining, they canceled. So that's, there was a big.
It's the worst.
Yeah, big riot happened, and there was a lot of breaking. Good news, I wasn't involved. For everybody there, I wasn't. I left before all that. But it was, so I don't count that one. But I think the two first concert for me was Dream Theater.
Okay.
It was back in 1998. It was 1998. It was Dream Theater, Scenes from a Memory album.
Okay.
This album actually is a 72 minutes, one song. 72
You had
minutes.
told me that. Yeah, that's crazy.
My
72
wife
minutes.
gave me as a gift for Valentine's Day to
Aw.
go and watch them. So she doesn't love them. She likes some songs, but she put up with it. And that was my first concert, and it was unbelievable.
Awesome.
That was awesome memory.
Awesome. My first concert was a group that I grew up listening to on my dad's records because, I'm like 7, 8, 9 years old. We had a record player and an 8-track player. And he used to have a bunch of albums from when he was in high school, the Beach Boys.
Beach
Boys, yes. So the Beach Boys came to our little music festival in our little town in Iowa there. And the first concert I remember going to was theirs. And I love the Beach Boys. I mean, the Little Deuce Coupe and She's Real Fine, My 409, some of the beachy stuff. I enjoyed listening to that. And that was kind of before I got to be a teenager, that was my introduction into music, That and then Mom liked some country. So I heard some of that, like Kenny Rogers and such. But my first one to actually go to a concert was the Beach Boys.
Nice.
So yeah, we are kind of hitting all facets of music here, aren't we?
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So your favorite concert of all time?
My favorite concert of all time, I'm going to say, was basically my last concert that I went to was Sabaton. Sabaton is a Swedish power metal band, and what is interesting about them is everything that they write is about history.
Yes.
And it's war history. So they just tell a lot
History
of war
wars
history.
throughout
The concert was unbelievable. It was a small venue in Minneapolis. I was with my other good friend from Minnesota. It was the first time he's listening to it.
Wow.
And in the concert, the drum set is in top of a tank.
That's awesome.
A real tank.
That's awesome. Guys, I'm putting this on the playlist, okay? Sabaton, I'm going to tell you, I'm a fan after Sal showed them to me. So in our playlist on the YouTube page, you will see Sabaton.
Yeah, and
Definitely.
I love that concert. The fact that everybody, like, for almost 2 hours we were standing up because you couldn't do.
That's crazy.
You started sitting down, but after the songs were playing, everybody stand up and start pumping feet and everybody singing the chorus and involvement.
That's awesome.
We have some videos of it. It was unbelievable to me. It was like, this is what live concerts.
Awesome.
And I have gone to the Iron Maiden ones, which are really, really good. But
Right.
this one, I would say, it was the one that blew me away. 'Cause it was unexpected.
That's awesome, man. And like I said, I'm going to share some Sabaton because they're awesome. My favorite concert was in 1993, was in the United Kingdom when I was stationed over there. I paid $50 for a ticket through the base, and that was Michael Jackson. The Dangerous Tour. Dangerous Tour. There were 70,000 people in that stadium, and it was crazy. It was nut to butt on the pitch or the field, and it's just crazy. The spectacle of him in 1993, it was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The pyrotechnics, the sound, it's just something I'll never forget. And then have him leave the legacy he left, and he left us. And I always liked Michael Jackson. I thought, especially his older stuff when he was with his brothers.
All the stuff was really good.
But, and the other stuff aside, his music was great.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a good time. But just seeing that spectacle of that. There was a movie that came out after he passed away where he was practicing for his new tour. And I can't remember the name of it, but it's pretty good. It kind of gives you the feel of what I saw in 1993. But yeah, I might even find a clip of his 93 Dangerous Tour and put it on that playlist too. But yeah, that is my favorite concert. All right. So now I'm going to have a little fun here.
Yeah.
All right. So we got the favorite concert. We got first concert. Now, is there a concert you ended up at and like, why in the world did I go to this concert? Or what did you ever accidentally end up at a concert that you didn't want to be at?
Not really. Honestly.
Not really?
Not really.
Oh, man, you're lucky.
I think pretty much all the concerts that I've been to.
Is ones you wanted to go to.
That I really want to go to.
Right.
I'm very picky.
You never went with the missus to a concert? You're like, I'm the only guy here kind of thing? Or,
no.
Nope, you just said, you go and I'll stay home. There we go. Huh?
All the concerts that I go to is because I really want to.
See, that's what I do now. You go, I'll stay home. I went with a group, I think it was either in high school or church or something, to a place like, we have Carowinds here, but there's Six Flags throughout the United States amusement parks. And we had one there in St. Louis. And we went down there with a group of friends and for like I said, a church or school or something. And there was a concert there. We're like, oh, let's go. And because we were a bunch of dumb young boys, we decided to go with everybody, because all the girls were there. And it was Tiffany and New Kids on the Block. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Right?
Yeah.
So that was 1983, 4, somewhere along that line. So.
And you survived?
Yeah. Well, maybe it was a little bit later. I don't know. It was in the 80s. I survived. We stayed there for a little bit and then left. But the next summer, we went back to that amusement park and saw Night Ranger. So that was good.
So you made it up.
Yes.
You made up for
so
that.
Night Ranger. Oh, man, there's an unappreciated band, too.
Yeah.
I'm having fun doing this.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting kind of towards the end. What I'd like to do is finish this up. And if you want to give me the soundtrack of your life that I could share with the folks down the road, or you just share, hey, these are songs and music I like. Give them a chance. Maybe you like them.
Mm.
Or maybe you've listened to them. So, Sal, what is the soundtrack of your life?
Well, so I would say this, right? If I'm thinking about when I was on my childhood, of course, I'm going to start with some Spanish.
Oh, yeah.
So we got bands like El Gran Combo, it's salsa, all salsa is really good.
And
dancing.
trust me, y'all, he can sing this stuff. I mean, and you're like, okay, all right, yeah.
With Hector Lavoe, Ruben Blades, Oscar de Leon.
Ruben Blades was an actor too, right?
Ruben Blades was an actor, and also he ran for government in Panama.
Really? Okay.
In Panama and everything in there. Awesome lyricist. One of the best lyricists out there.
Really?
He's a great storyteller. Hector Lavoe is the best singer out there. So I would say that was probably that part. Then if I jump into my middle school, I gotta go with my heavy metal roots. I gotta go with Metallica, Master of Puppets,
yes.
Iron Maiden, The Trooper, right? I think in Wasted Years, I think those were probably the songs that I would say at that moment of time. I think when I go into high school,
right,
I probably would play Pantera.
Okay.
You know,
wow.
Walk.
First mention of Pantera.
Yeah, go with Pantera because I like Vulgar Display of Power and to Walk.
Right.
In there, Cemetery Gates. I think those were kind of the songs that I kind of like it. If I jump into college, right? I think college, I gotta say Collective Soul.
There you go. There you go.
To go there. I like the Cranberries.
Cranberries.
My wife liked the Cranberries, and
yeah.
I think that was good. Pearl Jam, of course. With Black. Then later, at the later part, then I started going into the power metal band, right? So when I moved to the United States, I started finding the genre that I like. So I started looking at Stratovarius. This is a band they call power metal music, very melodic, very fast. Gamma Ray, Halloween. Those are kind of bands that are really, really good power metal. So we'll put some songs there so you can listen to that styles. Then I got my Dream Theater. So I started getting more into the progressive metal, things that are more complex. And then I rediscovered Journey. So at that moment, I listened to Journey, but actually as I got older, I started reconnecting with the Kansas,
making a
with
full
the
circle.
Journey, with the Toto. Even though I listened to them, I didn't pay too much attention to it. But as I got older, I started appreciating the way that they wrote their music songwriting and all that. Queen. Then I started getting into the Sabatons of the world, probably listen to folk metal. That's how I started kind of making the boundaries of mixing heavy metal bands like Korpiklani from Finland to Winter Sun and things like that. But then lately I've been listening a little bit like bachata, Romeo Santos, which is an awesome singer and songwriter of bachata, so which is really, really good in Spanish. And then now I'm more into pretty much everything that has to do with progressive metal and metal. So I continue with all those pieces. Van Halen right now needs to be in that mix. And White Lion, of course, because of my band like that and whatnot. That's going to be pretty much, if you notice, it's a vast, my playlist is going to be very big, but it's going to be a story that is very, very...
We're definitely going to put it together, man. It might take a little while, but we'll get it put together. And so take a look at my playlist. Some of it I've already mentioned. But back when I was a child, I kind of already mentioned the Beach Boys. It was my foray into music. Kenny Rogers was a record I remember buying when I was like 7 or 8 at some store. And Mom really liked him. And Coward of the County was the song I remember the most. And then I got older, and then I found Kiss in my teenage years. Michael Jackson, Thriller, came out about that time. And then later I got into, we had John Cougar, Jack and Diane, that whole era. Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins. Kenny Loggins, Footloose, that whole... I was in middle school and high school when all those movies came out. So, a lot of that 80s music was my adolescence, I would say. And then it got to Van Halen and Poison and Stryper. Stryper to me was a great band with a great message. They had great sound, and to this day I love them. To Hell with the Devil.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Honestly, great song.
Great song.
Just and then Michael Sweet, man, he gets so high on that. But yeah, that was probably the band I listened to the most besides Kiss in high school. And then moving into when I joined the Air Force, I really got into AC/DC, ZZ Top. That was kind of where I was. And then Motley Crue. I remember, and I think I shared this with you. I was overseas and we had these big speakers in the hangar and we had a CD player and we would crank Dr. Feelgood album. That whole album every night while we were working in the hangar. And it was just, that and Pearl Jam.
Kick my
yes.
Yeah.
And then I came back from overseas and I was stationed in South Carolina. And about that time is when 90s country was hitting. Your George Strait, your Tim McGraw, your Alan Jackson. So I was kind of immersed into that. I don't like all of it. Mm-hmm. I do not like new country. Mm-hmm. Not at all. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's too poppy. But some of them, they're good storytellers with a good rhythm behind it. One of my favorite songs, I spent 10 years as a firefighter. Mm-hmm. Two of my best friends were firefighters with me 23 years ago. And anytime we're together at a place, somebody puts on George Strait, the Fireman. And so that has, you know, they call me the Fireman. So if one of us are playing it, we'll take a picture on our phone and send it to the other. It's just, so there you go. Music has memories. Has memories and Connections, yes, sir. So most recently, I guess, getting to see Kiss again, or getting to see Kiss was good. I really, other than anything that I've listened since the 90s, that makes me sound terrible. I've listened to Sabaton a little bit that you've shown me. I haven't really, you know, I'll go back and I'll listen to some Chicago, some Journey, stuff that when I was a kid was there, but I didn't listen to it as much as I do now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Queen.
Oh, Queen. Especially
I mean,
Bohemian
how about
Rhapsody.
the movie, Bohemian Rhapsody? Mm-hmm. You know, I love that music from our era is getting exposed now. The Beatles, Get Back or something. There's something coming out on Disney Plus about the Beatles. It's like a behind the scenes. Unseen, you know, behind the scenes.
Yeah. Even the Bee Gees. The Bee Gees were great
and the
songwriters.
Bee Gees,
yes, great songwriters.
So I guess that's kind of my soundtrack of my life. Hopefully, some folks will say, "Hey, I've never listened to them before." You know, that's what I hope with the podcast. And please, folks, tell us. And I plan on having Sal on here again. You want to come on here again, Sal?
Oh, of course. All right. You
guys. So now we kind of know about Sal. And just to kind of let you know, Sal is actually, he was a college athlete, and I applaud him for that. Tell him what you did in college at the University of Puerto Rico.
Yeah, so I was a long-distance runner. Mm-hmm. I run 5,000 meter, 10,000 meter, and cross country. I used to do the mile in 4:27.
Wow.
7 seconds.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, and 5K in 15 minutes.
Awesome.
And 10K in 31 minutes.
Awesome.
You know, quick funny thing is I was looking at that. I won Rookie of the Year in 1993, 1994. I found the award that I forgot the other day running there. But, you know, and I love it. Believe it or not, when I run, I don't listen to music.
Really?
Because
there you go, folks. It comes full circle. He listens to music, everything else, but when he runs, and this is an athlete, and how many athletes do you know that always got a bud in their ear? They're probably listening to music, getting them amped up for their performance or whatever.
Yeah. But, you listen at the beginning, you don't listen to it when you're running. When you're running, you let the body disconnect from the activity and let connect with nature.
Awesome.
That's the only time when you just pause and you connect with nature. Music will play in your mind, but not in your ears.
Awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, Sal, this has been fun. You have anything else you want to share with anybody that's listening about music? Final thoughts, so on and so forth?
Yeah, I just want to say, you know, thank you for listening. And if you're listening to this, it's because you're a music fan. The bottom line is this. Music is great for the soul. No matter what kind of music you listen to, you know, everybody has different tastes. Right. Everybody have a different reasons of why they're listening to. But keep music in your life, whether you're playing it, whether you're hearing it, whether you're admiring it, whether you're cheering for it, and that will bring you happiness.
Absolutely, absolutely. I know that sounds like a cliche, but I agree with you 100%. I listen to music every night. Now that I'm sitting here thinking, you know, it is a bigger part of my life than I thought, you know. I think, Sal, let's do this winter. Get you back on. Let's talk about basketball. Let's just a basketball episode. It'll kind of be a follow-up to my basketball episode last year. Sal used to be my son's basketball coach and is well-versed in it. So maybe not next month, but look for this down the road. Sal Lopez being on Sea to Shining Sea with Chris Casey. Thanks again, man. This was awesome.
No, thank you.
Now we're going to get ready to watch a little football, see if the Carolina Panthers can win a game. Let's Fingers crossed and prayers said. But have a great day and a better tomorrow. I'm Chris Casey, and this is Sea to Shining Sea.